Hmm.
So what would you define, like if you had to put a definition of bold marketing, what would it be?
I would say it just means to be original. Don't be afraid to take a risk. Some of the greatest creative in advertising is stemmed from just going for it and ignoring like all the scared Sallies who try to dumb things down because they're worried, what people think. So I just say be original, take risks, you know?
Wanna cause no problems. I just wanna live my life, but I keep on hearing about nonsense. Me and my dons ain't mobsters, but you know when you see imposters, we know how to read them faces, same way you know how to read them comments. If you wanna talk, let's talk, but around here, make sure you walk and your talk is constant.
Today I have Caroline on the podcast today, the Death to Manila podcast, and so she is going to talk to us a little bit about some of the work that she's doing, her views on marketing, and like she said, well, she didn't actually say it. I was just reading through her stuff. That she's newer to the game, but she's got a long history of marketing in her family. So I'd love for you to kind of kick it out with just a little introduction about yourself and just like a little bit of backstory to how your family started out in marketing and how that's shaped where you are now.
Absolutely. So my mom owns her own greeting card line, and she's had it since before I was born. So she draws her own original characters, writes funny copy. They're all humor cards. So growing up, she'd always be like, "What's a good joke for Valentine's Day?" and stuff. So I was unknowingly helping her write copy when I was like 8 years old. But I had fun with it. I always had a little art in my blood because of that. And her father, Robert Moak, was an original madman. He worked on Madison Avenue and he was a freelance artist.
That's
He
cool.
was, yeah, he was one of the original artists for the Doublemint Twins concept, which is awesome to me, very inspiring. And then my father also worked in advertising, coincidentally. So he also worked on Madison Avenue for quite a few years, doing like account management and stuff. Um, and yeah, I mean, growing up hearing their stories always sounded so fun and it got me really into it. I kind of came into my own and found out I was good at art. And, I ended up going to college and choosing to study advertising because of all that.
Cool. Okay,
Anyways,
so what was like your first job getting into marketing? So you graduate school,
mhm.
what happened next?
I had like a part-time job while I was in college. I worked at American Heart Association and I did their organic social, just made content for them part-time. And that was, I wasn't looking for social media specifically. I was just like, this sounds fun. I'll give it a try, and ended up loving it. And that's what got me into wanting to do more social jobs. So after a couple more internships when I graduated, I found a opportunity to be a social media director at this local home improvement company called Sweetwater Home Services. It was a great experience. They kind of just let me do everything by myself and be my own boss. And I got to have a lot of fun and creativity with making the content. So it was a really, really fun experience. But I, uh, I ended up getting a little bored because I wanted to work with clients, and working in house is a little bit slow paced. And I like to be busy. I like to, you know, have more stuff to do. So I transitioned to Dealer Online Marketing Group, aka Dealer OMG, which is where I am now. And we are automotive advertisers, and it's so much fun. Another great industry. And I've been here for about a year now.
That's exciting. So what is it about what you do that you love so much?
Being able to be creative, making art, designing, writing. I growing up, I used to draw all the time, and I used to like write my own little books and stuff. Like I've always just loved writing and art, all that stuff.
So like a day to day, what does that look like for you there?
Uh, a lot of times I'm making promotions. Car dealerships do a lot of crazy sales events. There's always something going on. Like right
Right.
now, New Year deals, tax season's coming up, and a lot of people try to do like use your down payment on a new car. So I've been making a ton of creative for that. And a lot of it's video editing or, just practicing writing some fun copy.
Right.
And aside from that, just going through all my accounts. I manage 20 accounts through Facebook and Instagram. So
Dang.
I try to, it's a lot,
Yeah.
but
So that ought to keep you busy.
it does, but it's not always as crazy as it seems. Most of my clients, I don't talk to them every day. I'll talk to one or two like every other day, and they'll ask me to do stuff. So balances out. I've got a good workflow.
That's interesting. So like you are super heavy on the like because like when I look at content, I kind of look at it as like evergreen and then kind of like timely, right? And so it kind of seems like you are like super heavy on the timely stuff, maybe not so much on the evergreen, just because it's like event based, where it's like, oh, no, we're doing a sale for Labor Day, now we're doing it for Easter, now we're doing it for Christmas, now we're doing it for New Year's. Like it feels like you're probably always like thinking 6 months ahead.
We are. It's fun though. I love being able to make all these promotions. This industry is special for that, like the power of the crazy promotions that they do. You know, one of our local dealers, who is my favorite that I tell everyone about, named Scott Elder, is like local. He's a local celebrity. Like he does these really obnoxious commercials, like when he dresses in a pickle suit
Oh
and
my gosh.
he names it the nickel pickle sale, where he's like, I'm gonna pickle. I gotta get rid of all these cars. And he charges a nickel for a down payment or something like that, which is crazy sounding.
Right.
Not sure how that works, but you know, stuff like that. It's just like ridiculousness, and it's so fun.
Yeah, so that is like a perfect segue, and just this idea, like for us, you know, we're all about promoting and kind of like pushing that bold marketing, where not necessarily that it's like obnoxious or that it is like risky, but just that idea that it's something that stands out, right? And like for me, it would be very bold of me to wear a pickle outfit. Like I'm just not goofy. Like I guess I'm a little bit of a goofy person, but not at that level, right? So like, do you find like, is he like really odd man out when it comes to like doing things wild and crazy, or like do you feel like you have like a little bit of like push pull when it comes to doing something that like really stands out?
It depends on who we're working with. Scott, he works with other people and comes up with those ideas himself and just sends us the creative for posting and stuff. But with other dealers, we get to collaborate a lot. Like one of my stores, Fred Haas Toyota World in Houston, it's like the #1 volume Toyota dealer in the nation, huge
Dang.
store. And they do all kinds of crazy promotions. Like my favorite one, when coronavirus hit, the Houston rodeo got canceled, which is huge here. You know, and of course everyone's disappointed. My client was like, what if we did something with this? I was like, okay, I'm listening. And he suggested inviting people to use their rodeo tickets as a down payment, because they're pretty expensive. I mean, they're like $500 to $1,000.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's super extra, but.
So I better get like a back massage with the rodeo shoot, like
Exactly.
for $500.
Yeah, but so we ended up doing this promotion called Rodeo Tickets for Rides, and I wrote this headline that said like "Save a horse, ride a Toyota" with this like funny graphic. I was super proud.
Well done.
It was a really fun experience. So stuff like that. I love that client. We get to brainstorm together a lot.
What do you think is like, what's the reason do you feel like they're more willing to do crazy stuff like that? Like, is there something about their personality? Is it their view on marketing? Like, what gets them to the point where they're willing to do that?
It's a good question. The automotive industry is just notoriously kind of cheesy. I think like there's a lot of other dealers like Scott Elder who just do silly commercials, and they have weird mascots. Like this one dealership, Kyle Chapman Motors, has a camel mascot, which is really random, and they do videos with that. They're kind of funny.
Right.
So I guess they just, you know, they're hungry to sell, and they'll like literally do anything to get people in the door. So I think that's probably what it stems from.
What's up? Go ahead.
Every one of my clients is just like, I don't think I've ever heard them be satisfied with a month of sales. You know, they're always like pushing to be the best. So, you know.
Right. It's it takes me back in the day when I was a kid to when they had at least it was an Arizona thing, so you probably haven't heard of it, but that one of the dealerships said their like ending phrase was, "and that's no bull," and they had like this like steer in the background and stuff like that, and it was like a thing, and it was like super like stand out, super wild, and like it's so like I remember it to this day, and I probably haven't seen a commercial from them in like 15 years. So it's one of those things where like once you land on something like really unique, it really sticks. And stands out.
Yeah, I have heard of that actually. That's funny.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. A lot of them, they all have this trademark thing, you know, Donwood Automotive, they go, who would? Donwood. Or like my store, Billiter Ford, utterly affordable cars, like super cheesy, but
yeah,
it works. It's funny.
Oh yeah, that makes it. Yeah, the other one here is I want to see you in a Kia.
That's cute. Love that.
Yep. It's Yeah, you're right. It is kind of goofy, like, now that I think about it,
Hmm.
because you kind of think of that as being like a serious, well, one would think it'd be a serious industry because of the fact that people are making like really big decisions. Like, you're like putting yourself in debt for like the next 10 years for a car, which is fine.
Hmm.
Like having a nice car is really nice. But but it's also so silly, which is kind of funny that there's that paradox there where it's like a kind of a serious decision, but like also they're saying I want to see in a Kia, which is kind of just silly, you know?
Yeah, it is interesting. And I have some other luxury brands too, where creativity kind of takes like a different turn there because, I have a Porsche store and Bentley, Rolls Royce. Like buyers like that don't want to buy from clowns, so we kind of,
No way.
we try to get a little more serious and fancy when it comes to that stuff.
Sure, of course. So for them, what does like marketing boldly and standing out look like for them? Because I'm sure they're fighting for differentiating themselves as well, and obviously, like you said, they can't go down the goofy route. So what
Hmm.
route do they tend to gravitate towards?
A lot of people who are in the market and wanting something like an Aston Martin or something, another store I do, they're looking for something that'll make them like stand out in the street and look super cool, turn heads. It's either that or they're wanting a good investment, looking for something super nice. Most of the time, though, I try to go with this angle of like, stand out in the street, uniqueness, like uh, boldness. Like I made this Aston Martin video with like a wolf fighting and running through the forest, and it's like a rare breed, a statement of independence on the road, like something like that.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that video a lot. It's fun, a little edgy, but that type of stuff tends to work pretty well. Just making them feel special, you know.
Yeah. So on like just because I'm curious, so because one of the reasons I was super happy to connect with you is because car stuff is one of the things that we're like car videos is something that we're hoping to like journey down and do at some point. So
Hmm.
we did a little bit of our own that we put together, but so the dealerships aren't using the actual like car brand videos. They're like actually making some of their own. Is
Some
that what I'm
do.
hearing? Okay.
Some do. It depends. Some people, they hire us because they don't have anybody else. Some people have us and an in-house social person who can be on the lot and make TikToks and stuff, which
Sure.
is beneficial. I love being able to share content like that and stuff when we can. But typically, what I'll do is just I have access to all the manufacturer videos and stuff that I can rip and kind of make my own. I'll just splice it up and zoom it in. We like to do like the full screen videos that like take up the whole phone whenever you're scrolling.
Oh,
So
like
it makes
vertically?
it more eye catching. Yeah, like vertical
Yeah.
videos. So I'll crop it in and make it, stuff like that.
No, that's really cool.
Mhm.
So you said you did like mostly like Facebook for them,
It's
and what
Facebook and
else?
Instagram. Just we're
Okay,
only Facebook and Instagram. Yes, very specific, but it's what we are good at.
that's awesome.
Hmm.
So, what would you define like if you had to put a definition of bold marketing? What would it be?
I would say it just means to be original. Don't be afraid to take a risk. Some of the greatest creative in advertising is stemmed from just going for it and ignoring like all the scared Sallies who try to dumb things down because they're worried, what people think. So I just say be original, take risks, you know?
Well, yeah, no, totally. I absolutely feel that. I believe that's a great definition. Um, how do you work through something? Have you had a situation where you felt really strongly about something and you had to really talk someone over the ledge to actually do that?
A couple times it happens sometimes, but you know, a part of our job is being consultants, and we do have like a gift and a special way of talking to our dealers where usually like we have a good relationship and trust. So I can usually get them to hear me out
Yeah.
if I want to try something new. Like I said, a lot of them are open to trying fun stuff already. So that's beneficial for me.
That certainly helps. I've talked to a couple people who do agency work as well, and they're always talking about how like sometimes they get to a company and they're in a little bit of a rut because they've only done traditional media or only a certain kind of promotion, and it's really hard to get them moving into something new because they're, just out of familiarity, they don't know it well enough to jump into it, or maybe just fear-based
Right.
in the sense that like it's something new, and so it's for them untested, even if like the market itself has tested it. And so I always think
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting how people like process that.
Yeah, it applies especially to dealers, because a lot of them have been pouring most of their money into TV and radio for
Hmm.
most of the, last few years. And now a lot of them are kind of moving their budget to social. I have a lot of dealers who are asking to spend more and taking away from TV and radio now because they started to see, the new forefront, all of the new things we can do with it.
Well, and you're able to provide like some serious metrics and ROI on like how many people actually saw this. Like you can kind
Right.
of guess with TV, and I know they've got metrics for those kinds of things, but like you can literally say exactly who did what and be able to track them through the process, which I think is awesome for like retargeting and stuff.
Yeah, it's great for us for building proof and trust and getting new clients. We have so much to show for it. Facebook has so many great features too. We can do like offline conversion reports where I have my dealers send me their sales list from last month and I can upload it to Facebook and it'll scan the customer information and match it to the profiles who engaged with my ads that month. So then we can get like an idea of how many purchases were influenced. And those are great for me for, showing that what I'm doing is working.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious. So, you have all these different brands that you're working with. How they just kind of tell you how they want things done, or do you have like a process that you go through to try to find like a unique voice for them, right? Because obviously, like, I can't, the name escapes me, but the guy that you said wears the pickle outfit, like,
Scott Elder,
he,
yes.
he clearly, yeah, Scott. So he's clearly got like a unique voice to what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find that with people? Do you feel like they know it already, or do you
Mm-hmm.
have to kind of dig to get it out of them?
It depends on the store, but most of my dealers have their own personalities and brands already established. And when we do our onboarding call, I'll talk with them and take notes about, their tagline and what makes them unique and stuff. There's a couple dealers who are like, oh, I don't really know. I mean, so I'll come up with something if I have to. Yeah, a lot of them are already pretty well established, though.
Well, for the ones that aren't, like, how do you think through that? How do you discover their uniqueness?
A lot of different things. I do a lot of market research, looking at other brands for inspiration helps a lot. Facebook ad library is a resource. You can literally log in and see anyone's ads that are running everywhere. They made it public. So sometimes I'll do that and see like what other different Toyota stores are doing or what, whatever they are. And that can help me get a little idea.
I just had like a couple more questions for you, but
Mm-hmm.
is there like something that I don't know about your industry that you think is like really important for other people to know? I know it's very open ended.
Yeah, important to know. I mean, I'm not sure. Automotive is a lot of people tend to have distrust with dealerships sometimes. Like it can be, depending on your store, sometimes it can be difficult advertising on Facebook because people will like leave annoying comments and, it's kind of hard to sift through that.
Right, trolling and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that something that you have to do? You actually have to like manage your like community presence online?
I don't have to do that at this job. We only do
Oof.
their paid social, but I did have to do that at my first job as a social media director, which was really hard. Um, it was a home improvement company, and when your house, I don't know, when you're not happy with the way your house turns out, people can be pretty rude, and
Yeah.
it was a lot to do, especially on Yelp. Yelp reviewers for some reason just seem to be like the worst people ever, in my opinion. I don't know why that particular platform is just crazy. But glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good time.
Mm-mm.
People are a bit more vocal than they probably should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have you been playing around on like, because you and I met on Twitter, so obviously you're not just on the platforms that you do work for. So what kind of other like platforms you've been checking out that kind of pique your interest? Maybe they're emerging, or maybe they're just new to you. Like Twitter was in a way new to me, and I really discovered it and really enjoyed it. But have you been like experimenting with new things? I know
Mhm.
Clubhouse is something that kind of has been talked about a little bit. So,
Yeah, well, I'm addicted to TikTok. That's not really new, but that was my quarantine habit that I picked up. I downloaded TikTok, and it's like my favorite app now. I did get into Clubhouse as well. I haven't dabbled in it much yet. It's kind of hard being audio only when I'm like out doing stuff. It's
mm,
not like easy to use, but it looks like it has, a lot of interesting stuff in it. I think there's a lot of potential there. It seems to be pretty popular right now. I do wonder though how it works because it's invite only and what happens after everyone's been invited, I don't know
well, that's
how
how
it's going to
Facebook
end.
was. Facebook was invite only at the
Oh,
very
was it
beginning.
really? I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I think at first you had to have an edu email because it was only for
Mm.
colleges,
Oh
and then
yeah, I just
I think if I remember right, second was invite, and then so I remember like seeing people on Facebook and being super jealous, and then
Mhm.
eventually it just was like either I got invited and I don't remember because that was like 12 years ago, or it just opened up and now it's just like as it is now, just totally open. So I'd venture to say that it's probably something that isn't going to be invite only forever, but
Mhm.
I guess they could if they wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll be interesting to see how it continues to progress as it's blowing up. I see more people tweeting every day like just got into Clubhouse. So
Right.
we'll see. That's the other app I have my eye on right now.
So have you like seen I'm sure you kind of keep your eye on the automotive end a little bit, but have you seen any brands that are really like nailing their technique on TikTok or in or any of the other platforms that you've been on that like has been really impressive that people could pull from for inspiration?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't, to be honest, I can't think of any off the top of my head. I I have seen some really cool car TikToks, honestly, for our industry. Some of my dealers have gotten really creative with like, you know, doing some fancy lineups of their trucks or like,
Mm,
getting all the salespeople to like drive them around and flash the lights and play some like rap music with it. It's really fun. I mean, I see so much potential with our dealerships being able to use TikTok and, you know, get fun like that, but it is hard because we can't really do it for them because it's, you have to be there recording it to
right.
make it look kind of natural, or else, it would just look like an ad, which wouldn't want that. But yeah.
True. Huh. Now, if you could, I would love if you would send me the usernames for a couple of those because then we can add that into the like description on YouTube so people can check them out because I'm definitely curious. I'd love to see them, and then that'd be awesome to be able to share with other people on what people are doing that is a little bit different and unique and fun. So
Totally. I can send some stuff over afterwards.
that'd be
Great.
awesome. Thank you. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's like one that I super enjoy, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it's the guy that walks up to people who drive supercars and then
Yes.
asks them what they do for a living. He's like, people like in that like those circles like are starting to get to know him a little bit. It's kind of wild. Like he runs into people every once in a while. He's like, "Hey, you're that guy that does the videos," and he's like, "Yeah."
I love that guy. And it's interesting for me too, because I work on a lot of luxury cars. A lot of those brands that he asks people about, I watch them because it's kind of like market research for me. Like hearing what they do for a living is good information, because I can use
Right.
that for targeting and whatnot. So I love that account.
That's actually super smart to be able to do that for the targeting. Although I'm consistently like shocked in like the variety of people. Like real estate comes up a lot, finance comes up a lot, but yeah, it's just such a variety of people. It's just wild.
The occasional housewife who does nothing.
Like, oh, I
There's
married
that
into it.
that one lady who drives like a Maserati Levante. She's like, work? What? I don't work. That's the dream.
Right? I guess she picked right or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one today I watched where the guy's like, "Oh, I got a rich wife." Like, oh,
Love that.
well, there you go. Sweet. Okay, cool. Well, I want to respect the time that we talked about before about keeping it in a half an hour. So I
Mhm.
just want to say thank you so much for being on the show and sharing a little bit about what you do and the process you go through creatively for that. Is there? Could you share with us some of the ways that people can get a hold of you if they want to online?
Yes. Yeah. I'm pretty active on mostly just Twitter. It's Caroline Mers. on Twitter, MURS, half of my last name. But I'd love for you to follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. Marketing Twitter community, growing every day. How I met you, of course.
Right.
So yeah, follow me on Twitter.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for jumping on. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll get this up for people to enjoy as soon as possible.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Wanna cause no problems. I just wanna live my life, but I keep on hearing about nonsense. Me and my dons ain't mobsters, but you know when you see imposters, we know how to read them faces, same way you know how to read them comments. If you wanna talk, let's talk, but around here, make sure you walk and your talk is constant. Hey, I seen it all before I heard chat that they all adore. 1 week looking like they all aboard. Next day they don't even walk the walk. I've been here since I bust down Aqua, cutting through Asda, all black master. Now I'm too grown for acting gaffer, trying to pay off my Madre's gaff cuz. Took the wife and there's a rotty that's speaking.